Hey guys, so today I want to do another ranking video, and this one is going to be of my top 10 John Mayer albums. So John Mayer is one of my favorite musical artists. He's been a huge musical inspiration for me. I think ever since 2006, when I first started going to university. I remember where I was at this time, right before I was going to university at University of Toronto. I was living in Toronto, and I remember being in Eaton Centre. That's a big shopping mall in downtown Toronto, and John Mayer was holding a concert down there, and yeah, I couldn't believe his music, guitar playing, everything just blew me away. That was when his album Continuum came out. So yeah, he's been a huge inspiration to me and millions of people. So I mean, even my most expensive guitar that I own is a signature Martin acoustic. That's John Mayer's signature model. So yeah, he's had a huge influence on me musically. So I do want to count down my top 10 John Mayer albums. He's had a little bit more than 10 albums, so it's I know he hasn't had that many albums yet, but he does have more than 10 albums. So I'll just give my top 10. Some albums are going to be left out, and I'm going to count his John Mayer Trio albums as well and his live albums. So yeah, this is going to be my top 10 John Mayer albums, including live albums and his John Mayer Trio albums. And yeah, first I'm going to tell you guys the albums that I left out. First of all, I left out Paradise Valley because I personally don't like this album very much. I don't think I really even have one song I like from that album. John Mayer actually went on record himself saying that Paradise Valley is probably his weakest album, and I agree with that. Paradise Valley is not on my list. In my opinion, it is the weakest John Mayer album. I don't really like any songs from it. Sob Rock is not on my list. I know Sob Rock is one of John Mayer's favorite albums. It's not one of my favorite albums. I don't really bond with any of the songs on Sob Rock, unfortunately. So yeah, that one didn't make it. Inside Wants Out, I think it doesn't make it because it's an EP. It's one of his early albums before he had his first album, true commercial album. So I don't have Inside Wants Out on here. And yeah, I think those would be the major ones that I left out. Like I said, he doesn't have too many albums. He definitely has more than 10. But yeah, maybe around including live albums, I think he has maybe 15, 16. But anyways, those are the main ones I left out. No Paradise Valley, no Sob Rock, and Inside Wants Out, and then a lot of his other live EPs I didn't include either. So right, I'm gonna start counting down from number 10. Okay, so my number 10 favorite John Mayer album is Any Given Thursday. This is a live album, and it mostly includes songs from Room for Squares, although it does have some songs that he doesn't play on any of his albums, and it also has stuff from Heavier Things as well. But what I like about Any Given Thursday, I think the standout piece for this album is definitely Covered in Rain, and I think everyone would probably agree when they hear this album. It's just Covered in Rain in this album is an amazing performance. One of his I would say best performances in the sense that this was a live album that was recorded, right? And his performance of Covered in Rain on the DVD. The guitar solo, so Stevie Ray Vaughan, right? It's so soulful. Definitely, I think, in my opinion, one of his best live solos. So yeah, Covered in Rain is an amazing song, an amazing standout piece on this album. And the Covered in Rain is not a song that he released officially on any of his albums. So it's nice to see that on here. He also plays Comfortable on here, which is another song that's only on Inside Wants Out. It's only on that EP. It's not really on any big release. Message in a Bottle, he played a cover by The Police. That one's on here. It's nice to see. Again, he doesn't have that on any of his official albums. And he plays a lot of tracks from his Room for Squares album, which is a great album. So yeah, for all those reasons, I mean, even just for Covered in Rain alone, Any Given Thursday is going to be on my list, but I'll be at number 10. So yeah, it's a good live album. Not his best one, but definitely a pretty good one still. All right, number 9. One of my favorite John Mayer albums is Search for Everything. I really like this album, actually. Actually, all the albums on my top 10 are pretty good. There's no bad albums on here. Search for Everything is good. Came out in 2017 and has a lot of songs I like on it. It's a very groovy album. It has a very different feel from his other albums. It's a very funky album. I think the standout tracks from this album for me is "Still Feel Like Your Man" is a very funky song. I like the groove in this song a lot. I like "Moving On and Getting Over." This is a really nice, funky, groovy song. Love listening to that song. And Rosie. Rosie is just another really nice, chilly guitar song. It's a ballad actually, but yeah, it's really nice. I think those are my three favorite songs on this album. Still Feel Like Your Man, Move On and Getting Over, and Rosie. But yeah, I also like Love on the Weekend is okay. Emoji of a Wave, I think, is actually a really nice underrated song. You're Gonna Live Forever and Me, same thing. These are kind of underrated songs. But I think the three standout tracks for me are Still Feel Like Your Man, Moving On and Getting Over, and Rosie. I think those are my three favorites on here. Yeah, overall, it's a nice album. It's a very different style for him. It's not like a bluesy album at all. It's not like rock either, I would say. It's more like a very funky pop album. So, yeah, really nice, cool album. It's a different style for him. All right, number 8 favorite John Mayer album is Battle Studies. Battle Studies is this album came out like, wow, I was in third year university or something like that. I listened to this album a lot. Yeah, this was like probably honestly one of the albums, John Mayer albums I listened to the most, just because of when it came out. When I was like really obsessed with John Mayer at the time. But I have to say that it's not his strongest album. It's not. Following up from Continuum is not his strongest album, but it's still pretty good. It's solid. It's just not as great as Continuum, but what is, right? So, yeah, my favorite tracks from this album, I have to say, is first of all, I really like Perfectly Lonely. I think this is for me, Perfectly Lonely is it's a really nice upbeat song. Actually, it's just hearing him play and stuff like that. Yeah, it's nice up. It's got like a nice up tempo type of groove to it. So I really like that one. Edge of Desire is like kind of like a melancholy song, but I really like it. So Edge of Desire is a good one. Half of My Heart actually grew on me. I initially didn't like it. Taylor Swift is on it a little bit, but kind of grew on me over time. So I think I do like it now. And then Friends, Lovers, or Nothing is also one of my favorites too. It's got that nice piano in the song as well, so it's definitely a nice ballad. Many other songs on this album is fine. Yeah, Who Says, that's a pretty nice acoustic ballad. Heartbreak Warfare, that's the title track, it's okay. All We Ever Do Is Say Goodbye is also a pretty nice one too. But I think my standout tracks for this album are Perfectly Lonely, Edge of Desire, Friends, Lovers, or Nothing, and then Half of My Heart. I think these are probably my favorites from this album. So it's not his strongest album, but it definitely has a lot of good solid songs on it. So yeah, definitely one of the albums I listen to the most. So yeah, that's my 8th favorite album is Battle Studies. I also want to mention that I also saw a John Mayer concert, and this is one of the only concerts I've actually seen in my life. I don't go to see that many concerts. I actually saw a John Mayer live concert, which tells you how much I love John Mayer. But I actually saw him on his Battle Studies tour. During this time, 2009, 2010, I was really heavy into John Mayer. I actually saw, no one actually went with me. I just went by myself because I love John Mayer so much. I remember it was Valentine's Day, 2010. So Valentine's Day, 2010, he came to Toronto, and yeah, I just bought tickets for myself, and I went, and I really I loved him so much, so I just wanted to see him, and he played a lot of the songs from Continuum and Battle Studies, and it was great. So yeah, that's another memory I have to share from the Battle Studies record. I actually saw him on tour for the Battle Studies tour. All right, number 7 favorite John Mayer album is Heavier Things. Heavier Things is it's pretty similar to Battle Studies for me actually. It's not one of his best albums, but it's pretty good still. It's just, Battle Studies has to follow up Continuum, and Heavier Things has to follow up Room for Squares, and those are just really great albums, so it's really hard to follow up. But still, like, Heavier Things and Battle Studies are both pretty solid. I just had to put one ahead of the other, I guess, but they're both pretty good. Yeah, they're both really around this ranking here. If I had to say one of my favorite studies for Heavier Things, it's really kind of just it's Room for Squares was more acoustic, so Heavier Things, as the name implies, it brought in more electric guitar and stuff like that. But he hasn't fully evolved the electric guitar to where it is on Continuum and Battle Studies. It's just kind of a mix of acoustic and electric here. I think my favorite songs from this album is New Deep. New Deep is a really underrated song. I love New Deep, actually. I felt like it just makes you feel like you're entering something new, a new phase of your life. I'm moving somewhere. Like when I moved to California, like that just made me feel like, oh, I'm entering a new phase of my life. So that's what New Deep is, a meaningful song to me in that sense. Wheel, I think, is a really nice song too. Also kind of underrated. It's a nice ballad too. Come Back to Bed, I think, is a really nice song. This is a blues song, and his live version, if you hear it on the As Is record, is a really nice one too. There's an amazing solo in this song. It's a nice bluesy song. So I think those are probably my favorites. I mean, Clarity is really good. Like that's one of his singles from this one. Bigger Than My Body, it's a nice single from this one. Those are all good songs. Something's Missing, which he also played on Try as well. Yeah, these are all good songs, but I think for me, my favorites are probably, and Daughters obviously is one of his hits, but Daughters is not my personal favorite on this one. I like New Deep, Wheel, and Come Back to Bed. I think those are my three favorites on this one. Only Heart's pretty good too, another underrated one. But yeah, Heavier Things, again, very good record. Not one of his best records, but still really, really good. All right, number 6 is As Is. As Is probably, I think, probably the most underrated John Mayer record, honestly. Like, I don't hear too many people talk about this one. It's a live record. For some reason, not a lot of people talk about it. As Is released during his Heavier Things tour. And he has a lot of songs that he plays on this one. It's actually split in 4 volumes here. And there's a lot of good performances because John Mayer is just really good live. And he plays a lot of nice songs. I mean, it's just basically Heavier Things, but he plays it live, and he's usually better live. So it's almost like a better version of Heavier Things. But then on some of these like volumes, he plays stuff from Room for Squares too. He plays other songs that you don't see on this other records. So, okay, Comfortable, you see that only on his debut EP, which is not like a really commercial record. But then Tracing, he plays Tracing in one of the volumes, volume 2. He plays Tracing. That's a song that he never released in any record. And then, yeah, like the other stuff here, like that blues intro that he has on volume 3, really nice. Just an improv, I guess, for him. He plays Quiet. Quiet is a song that's only on Inside Wants Out. He doesn't really play that live very often. Hummingbird, that's a song he never released on any record. And then the rest of the stuff is just stuff from Room for Squares and Heavier Things, but they're done live. So yeah, it's just a better version of Heavier Things, I think. And he has Covered in Rain too. So he played Covered in Rain in Volume 5. So another great rendition, although not as good as the one on Any Given Thursday, but still pretty good. I still like this version of Covered in Rain as well. So yeah, just a lot of good songs on here. From if you liked Room for Squares or Heavier Things, these are live versions. So As Is, I think, is a really underrated record. I think it's a great live album. So yeah, this is my number 6 pick. Really, if you like his first 2 albums, definitely pick up As Is. I don't know why people don't talk about this one more. All right, number 5, getting top 5 here. Number 5 is Born and Raised. I really like this album. This is like his transition into more folk rock, and he does it beautifully. Like this is, he has so many good songs on here. I think one of the standouts for me is Shadow Days is one of his singles on this record. It's a good song. Grew on me a lot. Something Like Olivia, I like this one as well. Just simple song, but it's got a nice groove to it. Walt Grace's Submarine Test, I like this song a lot, and I covered this a lot, right? It's a good song. It really reminds me of I think he's trying to get a Beatles kind of vibe going, or Neil Young type of thing going with this record. But that's a really nice one. Face to Call Home, underrated song, I think. So yeah, and then Queen of California, I think, is a nice song too. So I think those are the standouts for me on this record. But Born and Raised is a really nice record. I bought this record 2012. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and really I kind of equate this to the time I was living in San Francisco. So yeah, just brings me a lot of good memories when I hear this record. because that was a great time for me. It's like 24 years old, living in San Francisco by myself. It's like a new place, making new friends and stuff, and listening to John Mayer. And yeah, great record. Yeah, Walt Grace, Face to Call Home, Something Like Olivia, Shadow Days, Queen of California. These are probably my standouts on this record. It's a nice folk rock record. And it's definitely a very big change from Battle Studies, which is his previous record. And I do like this better than the Battle Studies. Battle Studies is a good record, but Born and Raised proved that John Mayer could do. He can just shift genres like this, and he can still be really good at it. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Paradise Valley. I don't know what happened in Paradise Valley, but it's not Born and Raised. Born and Raised was really good. So, anyways, that is my number 5. Number 4 is Try. Try is the only record by John Mayer Trio. Yeah, so it's, I guess, by default, my favorite John Mayer Trio record because it's their only one. It's a live record. Contains a lot of really good songs on it. I mean, a lot of songs that he would consider probably just John Mayer Trio songs. Like Who Did You Think I Was is, yeah, it's a nice blues rock song. It's got a nice, like, catchy riff to it. So yeah, the Who Did You Think I Was is probably the song that probably most represents John Mayer Trio, because it's got that nice nice blues rock riff. Good Love Is on the Way. It's a nice riff too. It's got nice wah in it for the solo. Wait Until Tomorrow, that Jimi Hendrix cover. It's a nice cover. I still prefer the original Jimi Hendrix song, but still, it's good that he covered it, because Wait Until Tomorrow is not one of the popular Jimi Hendrix songs, so I'm glad that he covered it. Gravity. That's an all-time John Mayer song, and he actually debuted it on this record before Continuum. So Gravity's on here, which is great. Vultures, another song that would later be on Continuum as well. Out of My Mind is a nice blues song. Yeah, that one's just like a nice blues standard type of song. Another Kind of Green is a good song too. It's just one that he doesn't really play that much, but it's a good song too. Then he does like a Ray Charles cover, I Got a Woman, Something's Missing, and Daughters from Heavier Things. And then Try, which is like a nice little funky riff that he plays on that one. So yeah, a lot of good songs on this record. I think my favorites are probably Who Did You Think I Was? Of course, that's like that's the lead single, but also one of my favorites. Gravity, of course. I like Another Kind of Green. I think that song's a very underrated Mayer song. He doesn't play often. I like it. And Try. Try is a nice little funky type of song. He doesn't play that one very often either. So yeah, a lot of good songs on this record. It's a blues rock record. So yeah, I love blues rock. That's what I play for guitar when I was starting. Yeah, basically when I started out with guitar, I was playing a lot of blues rock. So it's just as soon as I got into John Mayer, I think Try and Continuum were the first 2 albums I listened to by John Mayer, and just got me hooked, you know. All right, number 3 is Where the Light Is. This is his best live album, and I think most people watch the DVD or listen to the album would probably agree. Even though As Is and Any Given Thursday is also on this list, but I have to admit Where the Light Is probably his best live record. He's just, I mean, it's stuff from Continuum, it's stuff from his John Mayer Trio stuff as well. He just plays a lot of blues rock stuff on here, which is nice. And then he has some songs that he doesn't have on other records, like In Your Atmosphere. In Your Atmosphere, he doesn't have on any other record, so that's just a song unique to this. He covers Free Falling here, Tom Petty cover, so that's pretty good too. Probably not my favorite song on this record, but it's a pretty nice cover. So yeah, I mean, just looking at the list of songs on Where the Light Is, you have all your great Continuum songs, your Heavier Things songs. I mean, yeah, this is like right before he released Battle Studies. I think he released this live record. It's still his last live record, I believe. Yeah, he hasn't released any new ones. But yeah, you have all the classics here. Waiting on the World to Change, Slow Dance in a Burning Room, Gravity, Belief, Vultures, Who'd You Think I Was? He even covers the two Hendrix covers on this one. Wait Until Tomorrow and Bold as Love. In Your Atmosphere, Free Falling, Every Day Have the Blues. These are just songs you don't see on any other record. Stop This Train, Neon, Daughters, like so many good hits on here. So this is his best live album. If you were to buy one John Mayer live album, buy Where the Light Is. That's his best live album. All right. my number 2 favorite John Mayer record is Room for Squares, which, yeah, I think this is his. I didn't know about this, but apparently it's his best-selling album, which I'm surprised actually, because I thought Continuum would be. But anyways, Room for Squares is his debut album, and it's a really good album. Like, it's mostly an acoustic album, and it has a lot of poppy songs. It's not really like it's not blues rock, which is what he's more known for now, I guess. But yeah, this basically solidified his early career, and it's just a great record. I mean, so many good songs on here. No Such Thing in Why Georgia are the ones that kind of got him really started. My Stupid Mouth as well. And Your Body is a Wonderland. Like, these songs really got him started out. But there's so many other great songs on the record. Love Song for No One, Back to You, St. Patrick's Day. This is a really good song too. So yeah, and Neon, of course. So there's a lot of really great songs on this record. Yeah, I think my favorite tracks on here would be My Stupid Mouth, City Love, I think is a nice song, St. Patrick's Day, and then Great Indoors is a pretty nice song too. I think that's a really underrated one. Nobody talks about that one, Great Indoors. And Love Song for No One, Back to You, these are good. Yeah, these are all great songs actually. And even 83, Not Myself. I actually don't think there's any bad song on this record. These are all really good songs. But yeah, probably my favorites out of here would be probably My Stupid Mouth and St. Patrick's Day and Great Indoors. Probably those are my top 3 here. St. Patrick's Day was one of his best songs. He doesn't really play it live very much, but it's one of his best songs and underrated too. So yeah, his debut album is really good. It's my number 2 of his favorite albums. Just a lot of good songs on here. I know it's poppy and acoustic, but he has just a lot of good songwriting on here, like songwriting, his lyrics and everything. And they're not like easy to play either. They're not easy songs to play. St. Patrick's Day has like 20 chords in it. It's really hard to play. So I forgot to mention 3x5 because 3x5 was actually not on the original release of Room for Squares. It was on the Columbia re-release. But yeah, 3x5 is definitely one of my favorite songs on the record. It's got these really provocative lyrics. Provocative by means like it's got really colorful, kind of imaginative lyrics, I should say. The chords are really imaginative too. This sounds really interesting. So the structure of the song, musically and lyrically, I really love it. So 3x5 is definitely one of my favorite songs from Room for Squares. I think St. Patrick's Day, 3x5, and yeah, maybe Great Indoors. I think these are probably my top 3 songs on Room for Squares. All these songs are great, but I think those are my top 3 from this record. And they're all pretty underrated songs. He doesn't play them that much live, so I don't think he's ever played Great Indoors. Maybe he played Great Indoors for the first few years, but he's never played it recently. 3x5, I think he played it on his solo tour a few times, and then St. Patrick's Day, like pretty rare. Maybe just a few times throughout his career live. But yeah, all these are really nice songs. So yeah, anyways, Room for Squares, great album full of acoustic pop songs, but all of them are really nicely well written, and the chords and everything are really interesting. So anyways, and then number 1, I think you guys know what the number 1 is Continuum. I mean, everyone knows this is probably the best John Mayer album, right? I'm surprised it's not his best-selling album, but it's definitely his best album, and I think most people would agree. Continuum is amazing. It's one of the best albums of the modern era, period. It's not just John Mayer's best album. It's just one of the best, pop rock albums of the modern era. Like, yeah, every song on here is great. There's no bad song on here. Waiting on the World to Change, the lead single, it's a great one. I mean, Don't Trust Myself for Loving You, Belief, it's a nice riff on that one. Gravity, obviously. Heart of Life, it's a nice ballad. Vultures, actually Heart of Life is probably the weakest song on this album, but it's still good. Vultures, he played that before on Try. Stop This Train is a really good ballad. Slow Dancing in a Burning Room is probably one of his most famous songs. Bold as Love, I prefer the original Jimi Hendrix song again, but it's a nice cover too. Dreaming with a Broken Heart, it's a nice ballad. It's an underrated one, I think. And In Repair, and I like In Repair as well. Yeah, he actually did this with Charlie Hunter, huh? Yeah, In Repair, it's a nice ballad too. And then I'm Gonna Find Another You, which is another ballad. So I think My favorite songs from this album is Gravity, which because it's just one of Mayer's signature songs, I guess. Gravity's got such a great melody to it. Stop This Train is just such a heartfelt ballad. Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, obviously, it's just a great song. Yeah, it's got a great riff, opening riff, solo, everything. In Repair, I think, is a good song. So that's probably my top songs from here is those four. So although the entire album has good songs, but those are going to be my top four from this album is Gravity, Stop This Train, Slow Dancing, and In Repair. Yeah, I like that one as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think everyone would agree Continuum is his best album. It's just great. It's the album that came out when I was getting to John Mayer, when I was starting university. This really is the album I associate with my university careers, Continuum and then Battle Studies. So yeah, it got me through a lot of tough times. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's my top 10 John Mayer albums. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. And yeah, that's it. As always, thanks for watching.